makers of Campbell Soups present The Campbell Playhouse. Orson Welles, producer.
Good evening. This is Orson Welles. There are clearly a number of ways in which a Christmas carol could be introduced. Myself, I am most struck by the happy fortune that enables us on this Christmas Eve to present Mr. Lionel Barrymore, the best-loved actor of our time, in the world's best-loved Christmas story, A Christmas Carol. It is the American way, as we know, to establish traditions quickly where popular instinct and sentiment pronounce them sound. And so it is that today, actually only the 5th anniversary of Mr. Lionel Barrymore's first playing of the part of Ebenezer Scrooge for the Campbell Playhouse, there is, I think, in all America nothing more eagerly awaited, more firmly rooted in the hearts of the radio family that numbers millions, than this yearly performance of A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol, as Charles Dickens wrote it, has by common consent long been a classic. Mr. Lionel Barrymore's appearance in it is rapidly becoming one. And now, just before A Christmas Carol, Ernest Chappell has a special Christmas greeting from the makers of Campbell Soups. Mr. Chappell.
Thank you, Orson Welles. As the old year draws toward its close, we of Campbell's feel a bond of warmth and gratitude toward each of you, our friends. For you see, in homes everywhere throughout the land, Campbell Soups have been welcomed. Day by day and week by week, you have placed confidence in us and in the foods we make. And there isn't anything we appreciate more deeply than the fact that so many of you have elected to let Campbell's make your soups for you. And so when Christmas comes, we look about to find some way to show our appreciation, some Christmas present by which to say thank you. The gift we chose 5 Christmases ago and have chosen each year since has become a part of Christmas to many and many a family. It has become a Christmas custom to gather round the radio to hear and to enjoy A Christmas Carol. And since it is Christmas Eve, we hope, too, that the younger members of the family are permitted to stay up and listen before dreams and visit of Santa. We get a great deal of pleasure planning and preparing this Christmas gift, and now it's ready. Off come the wrappings, off come the tags that say, please do not open till Christmas. Out comes the card, to you from Campbell's. And here is the gift itself.
Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. And Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. Scrooge and Marley were partners for I don't know how many years. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, was Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. And once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house, a grim, cheerless place if ever there was one. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, Bob Cratchit, who in a cold and dismal little cell beyond worked at his ledgers.
19, 20, 21, 22. Merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. 23, 26, 29. Christmas Day, 11, 13, 17, 7, carry 1. Hour and 18.
Bob Cratchit,
Yes, Mr. Scrooge?
stop that infernal caterwauling.
Yes, sir. 9, 15, 17, 29, carry 1.
Impudence. Singing their idiotic Christmas carols at my very door. Go somewhere else and bellow your blasted carols, or I'll give you in charge.
Sorry, Governor. It's an old custom at Christmas time, you know.
Yes, and I don't want any of your old customs. Take your fellow fools and go away. Christmas. Blah.
Right, sir. Merry Christmas anyway, sir.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. A Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Fred.
God save you, Uncle.
Ah, humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? No, I'm sure you don't mean that.
I mean just that. Exactly that. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you? You're poor enough.
Well, what right have you to be dismal about Christmas, Uncle? You're rich enough.
Ah,
Now, Uncle, don't be cross.
well, what else can I be when I live in such a world of fools? What's Christmas to you but a time for paying bills without money? Merry Christmas. A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should.
Uncle?
Nephew, keep your Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it, Uncle.
Well, let me leave it alone then. What do you want? A Christmas gift, I've no doubt.
I came to wish you a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
A Merry Christmas. Much good may Christmas do you. Much good it ever has done you.
There are many things from which I derive good by which I have not profited materially, I dare say, Uncle. Christmas among the rest. But I have always thought of Christmas time as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good. And I say, God bless it. God bless Christmas. Hurrah!
Let me hear another sound out of you there, Bob Cratchit, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. As to you, nephew, I wonder you don't go into Parliament. You talk enough nonsense.
Don't be angry, Uncle. I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I've tried. A Merry Christmas to you, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year, too.
Ah, humbug.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Bob, and the missus, and to Tiny Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Fred. Same to you, sir. Good day, sir.
Good day, Bob.
Nonsense. Twaddle. Blummery. Talking of Christmas and not 2 sixpences to jingle together in his trousers pocket. You there, Bob Cratchit. Come here. What are you doing there?
I was only putting a bit more coal on the fire, Mr. Scrooge, seeing it's so cold in there, sir.
Well, you put that coal back into the scuttle. A fire. A fire, indeed. I can tell you, if you use coal at that rate, you and I will soon be parting company, Bob Cratchit. You understand that? There's many a young fella like your situation, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. My fingers were getting a little stiff with the cold.
And put on your mittens. There's someone at the door. See who it is.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is the firm of Scrooge and Marley.
Yes, sir.
I should like to see the head of the firm, if I may.
Oh, very good, sir.
What is it?
A gentleman to see you, Mr. Scrooge.
Huh?
Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's been dead these 7 years tonight. I'm
Well,
Scrooge.
now, Mr. Scrooge, at this season of the year, it's only fitting that we who are more fortunate should raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. You may not believe it, sir, but many thousands are now in want of common necessities, and hundreds of thousands are in want of the simplest comfort, sir.
Are there no prisoners?
There are plenty of prisons, sir.
And the workhouses? They're still in operation, I trust.
I wish I could say they are not, but they are, sir.
The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor then?
Both very busy, sir.
Oh, well, I'm very glad to hear that. I was afraid from what you said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their useful cause.
No, sir, all these institutions that you mention are flourishing. But it's nevertheless true that some additional provision for the poor and the destitute must be made.
Nah.
A few of us upon change are endeavoring to raise such a fund, you see. And what shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
Oh, I see.
You wish to be anonymous, sir.
I wish to be let alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas time, and I can't afford to keep a lot of idle people and make them merry. I help support the establishments that take care of the poor. They cost enough. Let those who are badly off go there.
Many can't go there, sir. And many would rather die.
Well, then, my advice to them is to do so and decrease the surplus population. Besides, I've only your word for it that all this is so.
It's the truth, Mr. Scrooge.
Well, so be it then. It's not my business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon, sir.
I quite understand, Mr. Scrooge.
Cratchit, show this gentleman out.
Yes, sir. This way, please. Sir, I couldn't help overhearing. I should like to contribute threepence.
Cratchit!
Yes, sir. It isn't much, but it's all I can afford. But there are others in worse situation than I.
You're a generous fellow. I wish I might say so of your employer.
Cratchit!
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas. Close the door.
Yes, sir. I have closed it, sir. 24, 31, 1 and carry 3. A new scarlet tippet for Tiny Tim. And a comb for Martha. 33, 3 and carry 3. Hair ribbon for Belinda. 4, 7, 12, 15.
I suppose you want the entire day tomorrow.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. But I suppose I can't do anything about it. If I was to stop half a crown of your wages, you'd think yourself very ill-used, I'll be bound.
Well, sir,
And yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work?
It's only once a year, sir.
Once a year. Once a year, indeed. A fine excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose it's no good talking. You must have the whole day. Well, see that you're here all the earlier the next morning. You understand?
Oh, I will, sir. I will, sir, indeed. Good night, sir, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
The office was closed in a twinkling, and Bob Cratchit, with the long ends of his white comforter dangling below his waist, for he boasted no greatcoat, went down a slide on Cornhill 20 times in honor of its being Christmas Eve, and then ran home to Camden Town as hard as he could pelt to play with his family at Blind Man's Buff. Scrooge, on the other hand, took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern. Having read all the newspapers and spent the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went to his dismal house. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge likes it. The yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew its every stone, had to grope with his hands through the fog and the frost to find the door. Scrooge walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa. Nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet. Closed the door, locked himself in, double locked himself in. And took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown and slippers and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel.
Marley. I could have sworn I saw... humbug. Marley's been dead these 7 years. Humbug. It's all humbug. What I need is a good night. What's that? Someone's in the wine cellar. But the door's locked and double locked. It's coming. It's coming closer. Outside my door. I won't believe it. It's humbug still.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
What?
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, no. What do you want with me?
I want much of you, Ebenezer.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Well, you're very particular for a ghost. All right. Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Jacob Marley. But you're dead. You died 7 years ago.
7 years ago this very night.
You are a ghost then?
What's wrong, Ebenezer? Don't you believe in me?
I do not.
You doubt your senses, Ebenezer?
Yes, because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You can't be a ghost. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There may be more gravy than grave about you, whatever you are. Humbug, I tell you. Humbug. Excuse me, Jacob. Excuse me. I do believe in you. You are a ghost, Jacob.
Thank you.
But what? Why do you walk the earth, Jacob? Why do you come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide to witness what it cannot share but might have shared on earth and turn to happiness.
Oh, tell me, Jacob, what is that chain you wear around you?
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard by my own free will. Is its pattern strange to you, Ebenezer?
Cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, purses.
Yours was as heavy and as long as this 7 years ago. And you have labored on it since, Ebenezer.
Oh, Jacob, speak comfort to me.
Comfort I have none to give. I cannot rest, I cannot stay, I cannot linger. Weary journeys lie before me.
You travel fast?
Yes, Ebenezer, on the wings of the wind.
7 years dead and traveling all the time?
7 years, Ebenezer. 7 years of remorse. Ebenezer, do you know that no space of regret can make amends for one life's opportunities misused?
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. Charity, mercy, benevolence, they were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business.
Oh, Jacob, don't take on so. Jacob.
Listen to me, Ebenezer.
I listen to you, Jacob. Go on, Jacob, speak to me. But don't be so flowery.
Ebenezer, I am here to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. Do you hear that, Ebenezer?
Yes, Jacob. You always were a good friend to me, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. But go on. Go on. Go on. How shall I escape? Oh, I'm afraid, Jacob.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the only chance and hope, Jacob?
It is your only chance and hope.
Then I think I'd rather not.
Without their visit, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow, when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Ebenezer, look that for your own sake you remember what has passed between us. And remember, when the bell tolls 1, look for the first spirit.
Marley. Jacob Marley.
Scrooge awoke. He was lying on his bed fully dressed. Suddenly the curtains of his bed were drawn aside. Scrooge found himself face to face with the unearthly visitor who drew them. As close to it as I am now to you. And I am standing in the spirit at your elbow. It was a strange figure, like a child. Yet not so like a child as like an old man.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Who is that?
Ebenezer Scrooge, I have come for you.
You are the spirit, sir, whose coming was foretold me?
I am that spirit.
What are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
But what do you want of me? What brings you here to haunt me?
Your welfare, Ebenezer Scrooge. Rise and walk with me.
Oh, no, not out of the window. I can't do that. I'll fall down. I'm not a spirit. I'm mortal. I'll fall.
Bear but a touch of my hand upon your heart, and you shall be upheld in more than this. Come, follow me.
What's become of the city? And there's snow upon the ground. Where are we?
These are the shadows of the things that have been. You recognize this countryside?
Oh, I know every inch of it. Every rock, every tree.
And that bleak building over there?
That building. I was a boy there. Yes, I went to school in that horrible place.
Do you recollect that path?
I could walk it blindfold.
Strange you forgot it so many years. Come, let us go closer. Look through the window into that cold, barren room. What do you see, Ebenezer Scrooge?
I see a boy.
A solitary child, neglected by his family, alone.
Yes, I see. I know that boy. Oh, I was so lonely. Poor boy.
Your lip is trembling, Scrooge. And what is that on your cheek?
It's nothing at all. I wish it's too late for that now.
What's the matter?
Nothing. The waits came to my door singing Christmas carols last night. There was a boy like that among them. A poor, thin, pale boy in a ragged coat. I'd like to have given him something, that's all.
Is that all? Come, Ebenezer Scrooge. Let us see another Christmas. Do you know this place, Ebenezer Scrooge?
Know it? Know it? Why, this is the counting house where I was apprentice.
Listen.
Why, it's my old master. Bless his heart, old Fezziwig. My master, alive again, and host at one of his Christmas parties. Listen to it.
Thread the needle and back to your places.
And there's Dick Wilkins. Poor Dick. Dear, yes? And look, there's Mrs. Fezziwig herself, looking younger than any of them. And the table's all loaded with roast and cider and mince pie and beer. Oh, what a jolly time we used to have.
That carefree young man with the light heart and the gay smile. Do you recognize him?
Yes. Merciful heaven. How happy I was then.
A small matter for old Fezziwig to make those silly folk so full of joy.
Small matter? Small indeed.
Isn't it? He has spent only a few pounds of your mortal money. Is that so much that he deserves praise?
It's not that. It's not that, Spirit. Old Fezziwig has the power to make us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or heavy. His power lies in words and looks, in things so tiny it's impossible to count them up. The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost her...
What is the matter?
Nothing. Nothing at all, Spirit.
Something, I think.
No.
Speak.
No. Only It's just that I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk, Bob Cratchit, just now, that's all.
My time grows short, and we have yet another journey to make.
Where now?
Come. This is our last visit to the past, Ebenezer. Here, in this little room, with a fair young girl by your side. Do you recognize yourself, Ebenezer?
Oh, no. Spare me this.
You're older now, a man in the prime of life. Your face has begun to wear the signs of care and avarice. Your eyes are greedy, the eager, restless eyes of a miser.
No, please.
She knows it, too, that girl by your side. There are tears in her eyes.
It matters little, Ebenezer, to you. Very little. I know that.
Belle, have I changed towards you?
When we were engaged, we were both poor.
Was it better then? Better to be poor?
Better at least to be happy. You're changed. You were another man then.
I was a boy. Do you blame me because I've grown wiser? Have I ever tried to break our engagement?
In words, no. Never.
In what, then?
In a changed nature. In an altered spirit. In everything that made my love of any value in your sight. So I release you from your promise.
Belle.
Oh, at first it may cause you pain to lose me, a very brief pain. But soon it will be dim, like a half-remembered dream, an unprofitable dream, and you will be glad to be awake from such a dream. May you be happy in the life you have chosen, Ebenezer, for the love of him you once were.
Spirit, it's enough. Show me no more. Take me home.
These were shadows of the things that have been. That they are what they are. Do not blame me.
No more.
One shadow more. Come. Do you see this man, Ebenezer Scrooge? This man might have been you, and the woman beside him your wife, and that girl might have been your daughter, Ebenezer Scrooge. She might have called you father. She might have been a springtime in the haggard winter of your life.
Spirit, let me go. Show me no more.
Listen now, while they speak, Ebenezer.
Belle, I saw an old friend of yours today.
Who was it?
Yes.
How can I? Oh, I know. Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge it was. I passed his office window. It wasn't shuttered, and there was a candle inside, so I couldn't help seeing him. His partner, Marley, lies at the point of death, I hear. And there Scrooge sat all alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
Spirit, I can bear no more. Leave me. Haunt me no more. Take me back. Take me back.
King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night.
You are listening to the Campbell Playhouse, bringing you tonight the 5th annual presentation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, produced by Orson Welles and starring Lionel Barrymore as Scrooge. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
When the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel. When a poor man came in sight, gathering winter fuel.
And now, back to the Campbell Playhouse in the 5th annual presentation of A Christmas Carol. A Christmas present from the makers of Campbell's Soups.
stroke of one, Scrooge awakened suddenly and sat him bolt upright in his own bed. He remembered the words of Marley's ghost and wondered from which direction the second specter would appear. At that moment, nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros would have astonished him very much. Now being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing. And consequently, when no shape appeared, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. Then as he sat in his bed, he became aware gradually of a great blaze of ruddy light that seemed to shine upon him from the adjoining room. He got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the door. It was his own sitting room, there was no doubt about that. But it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with living green that it looked a perfect grove. And there sat a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch in shape not unlike Plenty's horn, and held it up, high up, to shed its light on Scrooge as he came peeping round the corner.
Come in, Ebenezer Scrooge, and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present.
Spirit, take me where you will. Last time I went against my will and learned a lesson which is working now. If you have anything to teach me, let me profit by it.
Touch my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge. Touch my robe.
Where have you brought me, Spirit?
To an humble dwelling in an humble street.
It's miserable enough.
Yet there is happiness there.
Who are these people? Who's that woman? And the children?
These are the family of your clerk, Bob Cratchit. See his wife, dressed in a twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons, laying the table for their Christmas dinner. And there, assisting her, is her daughter, Belinda. And the young man with a fork in the stuffing, that's Master Peter Cratchit. And the two little Cratchits. Listen, Scrooge, and watch.
Here's Martha, Mother.
Quiet, children, quiet. Now sit you down before the fire, Martha, and have a warm, Lord bless you.
Where's Father?
He's been to church with Tiny Tim. They'll be along directly.
How is Tiny Tim, Mother? Any better at all?
Sometimes I think he is. And sometimes I think, oh, dear God, if anything should happen to Tiny Tim.
Oh, Mother, you mustn't even think of such a thing.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Martha, welcome, my dear.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Father, and Tim. Merry Christmas, Martha. Oh, Tim, you darling. Oh, Father, I'm so glad to be home.
And we're glad to have you, Martha.
And how did little Tim behave in church, Bob?
As good as gold and better.
I like church, Mother. Oh, they sang the nicest songs. I hope people saw me there.
Saw you there? And why, Tim?
Well, don't you see? Because I'm lame. And if they saw my crutch, it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas who it was made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
Bless you, my son.
Are we ready to eat, Mother?
Yes, children, we're all ready. Come, take your places and wait your turn. There's plenty of stuffing and dressing and plum pudding for all of you. Martha, take care of Tiny Tim and see that he eats plenty.
Yes,
he must
Mother.
get strong and well. Now sit down, everyone.
Yes, come on, Tiny Tim.
And now, my dears.
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved.
No, kind Spirit. Say he'll be spared. Say he'll live.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, Ebenezer, the child will die.
And to praise thy name. Amen.
Amen.
And now, my dears, with such a dinner, a toast. A Merry Christmas to us all, and God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
And now to Mr. Scrooge. I'll give you a toast to Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed, who pays you all of 15 shillings a week. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast on, and I hope he'd have good appetite for
My
it.
dear, the children, Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day, I'm sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Bob. Nobody knows it better than you, poor fellow.
My dear Christmas Day.
I'll drink his health for your sake and the day's, not for his. Long life to him. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt.
And I say God bless him too, Mother, and everyone.
Yes, to Mr. Scrooge.
Very well.
There was nothing of high mark in all this. They were not a handsome family, these Cratchits. They were not well-dressed. Their shoes were far from being waterproof. Their clothes were scanty and had known, very likely, the insides of a pawnbroker's. But they were happy, grateful, pleased with one another and contented with the time. And when at last they faded, Scrooge had his eye upon them, and especially on Tiny Tim until the last. Many calls Scrooge made that night with the ghost of Christmas present. Down among the miners they went who labor in the bowels of the earth, and out to sea among the sailors at their watch, dark, ghostly figures in their several stations. Much they saw and far they went, and many places they visited, but always with a happy end. The spirits stood beside sick beds and they were cheerful, on foreign lands and they were close at home, by poverty and it was rich, in almshouse, hospital and jail, where vain man in his little brief authority had not made fast the door and barred the spirit out, the spirit left his blessing. It was a long night, if it was only a night. And it was strange, too, that while Scrooge remained unaltered in his outward form, the ghost grew older, clearly older.
My life upon this globe is very brief, Ebenezer. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight. Hark. The hour is come.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. No, there are still more things I wish to learn.
These you will learn from still another spirit. Still another spirit, Ebenezer.
Scrooge looked about him for the ghost. It had vanished. He found himself once more in his bed, in his dressing gown and his nightcap. He'd heard the clock strike. And then he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and lifting up his eyes, beheld the third spirit. A solemn phantom, shrouded in black, draped and hooded, coming towards him slowly and silently, like a mist along the ground.
I know you. You are the ghost of Christmas yet to come. You'll show me the shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Answer me, spirit, ghost of the future. Oh, I fear you more than any specter I've seen. Yet, as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, lead on. Lead on. The night is waning fast. Time is precious. Spirit, why have you brought me here again? At Bob Cratchit's home? It's not the same. Why is it so quiet? So very quiet here.
Mother, please.
Oh, my son. My little son. Tiny Tim. I loved him so.
Mother, dear, you mustn't. It's almost time for Father to be home. Don't let him see you crying.
Yes. Yes, Martha. He's late tonight. He walks slower than he used to. Yet I've known him to walk very fast indeed with Tiny Tim on his shoulder.
So have I, Mother.
But he was light to carry. And his father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble at all. Bob.
Good evening, my dear.
You're late, Bob.
I'm sorry, my dear. I went to the churchyard today. I wish you could have gone with me. It would have done your heart good to see how sweet and green a place it is. You'll see it often. I promised him. I promised Tiny Tim we'd walk there on Sunday.
Oh, Father, dear. It's God's will, Bob.
I'm trying to understand it, my dear. My son. My little son, Tiny Tim. And I loved him so.
Oh, that's cruel. Cruel. Spirit, can't you give me one ray of hope that I may change all that? That Tiny Tim may live? Where are we now? Oh, merciful heaven. Churchyard, overrun by grass and weeds, choked with too much burying. Desolate, a lonely, crumbling gravestone. Spirit, now before I draw nearer to that gravestone, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be? Or are they the shadows of things that may be only? Will you not speak to me, Spirit? What is that grave to which you point? Now I see. There's writing on that stone. Name on the gravestone is Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, Spirit. No. Spirit, hear me. I'm not the man I was. Why show me this if I'm past all hope? Tell me that I may change these dreadful shadows that have come, that you've shown me by an altered life. I'll honor Christmas in my heart, and I'll try and keep it all the year. I'll live in the past, the present, and the future. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Tell me, do, Spirit, please tell me that I can sponge away the writing on that stone, Spirit. I beg of you, Spirit, Spirit. On my knees. I promise. What's this? It's my bedpost. I'm home. In my own bed. In my own room. And the sun. The sunshine. It's clear. It's bright. No fog. Oh, what a beautiful day. Glorious. Glorious. Boy. Oh, boy.
Yes, sir?
What's today?
What's that, sir?
What day is it, my fine fella?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Ha ha. Then I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. all in one night. Heaven be praised.
How's that, sir?
Listen, my lad. Do you know where the poultry is in the next street?
I should say I do.
An intelligent boy. A remarkable boy. Tell me, do you know if they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging in the window?
The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Yes, my buck?
It's hanging there now, sir.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now go around, will you, and tell him to send it to Bob Cratchit and his family on Broad Street. And mind you, they're not to know who paid for it. Now, hurry along, my lad. And here's half a crown for your trouble.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And a Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you, too, my boy. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather, as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. A Merry Christmas. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. Whoop! Whoop!
Next morning, Scrooge was early at his office. He went early for a reason. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late. That was the thing he'd set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock had struck 9. No Bob. 1:15. No Bob. Scrooge sat with his door wide open that he might see him come in. And at last he came. His hat was off before he opened the door, his comforter, too. He was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen, as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock.
8 and 17 are 15, carry the 1, 24, carry the 2, 31, carry the 4, 8 and 6 are 14, carry the 8.
Hello, you, Cratchit.
Yes, sir.
Step this way, Cratchit, if you please. Cratchit, what do you mean by coming in at this time of day?
Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I'm behind my time.
You are? You are? Yes, I think you are.
Oh, it's only once a year, Mr. Scrooge. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
I'll tell you what, my friend. I'll not stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, Bob Cratchit, I'm about to raise your salary.
Mr. Scrooge, are you quite yourself, sir?
No, thank heaven I'm not quite myself. Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas, my good fella. A merrier Christmas than I've given you in many a year. I'll raise your salary, and we'll see what we can do for Tiny Tim and the rest of your family. We'll discuss it this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. Bob, make up the fire. Make it up and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. To Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare his room. And heaven and nature live. And heaven and nature sing.
You have just heard our annual presentation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, starring Lionel Barrymore, brought to you by the makers of Campbell's Soups. And now here is Orson Welles.
At this point in the program, ladies and gentlemen, it is my custom, as you know, to present to you with a few words of introduction our guest of the evening. With your consent, I shall dispense with this tonight to introduce tonight's guest to the Campbell Playhouse audience or to any other American audience is an extravagant and superfluous procedure. For if ever an actor has won for himself a lasting place in the hearts of his fellow countrymen through years of unsparing and inspiring service, that actor is Lionel Barrymore. Mr. Lionel Barrymore.
Thank you, Orson Welles. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 4th year I've had the pleasure of appearing in the Christmas Carol here on the Campbell Playhouse. And I assure you all it's a pleasure that never tires. As long as I can remember, this has been one of my favorite stories. When we were children, it was read to us regularly at this time of year, as it is to millions of children right now. And like many of them, I'm sure, the three of us, Ethel, Jack, and I, with the aid of a sheet and some old ironware, made a play of it. As I remember, we had 3 Scrooges in that production.
Mr. Barrymore, who played Tiny Tim?
I think we had 3 Tiny Tims, too. But seriously, I can think of no part that I've enjoyed playing again and again as much as I have the part of that squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, Ebenezer Scrooge. And I can think of no happier or more suitable choice for the makers of Campbell's Soups to offer the people of America as their Christmas present each year than Charles Dickens' well-beloved story, Christmas Carol. Good night, Orson. Good night, everybody. And a Merry, Merry Christmas to you all.
Good night, Mr. Barrymore. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, for next Sunday night, we're happy to announce our version of a great and truly American story by a great American novelist, Come and Get It by Edna Ferber. Against a background of the mighty forests of Miss Ferber's own Wisconsin, it tells a stirring tale of the men and women who live and die in the woods in order that lumber may come down the rivers every spring into the cities of the modern world. Like so many of Miss Ferber's epic romances of American life, it was made from a best-selling novel into a highly successful motion picture. Now we bring it to you on the air. Story of a man and his son and the girl they both loved, Lotta, played for us by one of the loveliest and most accomplished of Hollywood's younger dramatic actresses, Miss Frances D. And so until next week, until Come and Get It with Frances D., my sponsors, the makers of Campbell Soups, and all of us on the Campbell Playhouse remain, as always, obediently yours.
The makers of Campbell's Soups join Orson Welles in inviting you to be with us in the Campbell Playhouse again next Sunday evening when we bring you Edna Ferber's Come and Get It with Miss Frances D. as our guest. Meanwhile, if you have enjoyed our 5th annual presentation of A Christmas Carol, won't you tell your grocer so this week when you order Campbell's Soups? This is Ernest Chappell saying thank you and a Merry Christmas to you all.
The Mutual Broadcasting System, in cooperation with Family Theater Incorporated, presents Substitute Santa, starring Frank McHugh and James Burke. Ray Milland is your host.
More things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of. happiness so often comes from little things, the simple deeds, the daily thoughtful acts of kindness, the words of encouragement we can and should give to one another. These things mean so much, especially at home, where appreciation and gratitude may often be forgotten because it is home, and we just take for granted the kindness and encouragement that is given. It's sad to see a home where words of thanks are forgotten, or where there's distrust and constant quarreling, because home was meant to be the happiest place in the world. And it can be with God's help. And in a home where there is the daily practice of family prayer, the daily expression of thanks to God, there is always a new appreciation of members of a family for one another, a new spirit of thankfulness and happiness.
We will hear from Ray Milland later in the program. Now, Family Theater presents Substitute Santa, starring Frank McHugh with James Burke.
Featherstone's department store. Yes, madam. All complaints on purchases made must be made in person. Sorry. Featherstone's department store. Yes, we deliver in your suburb, right up to Christmas Eve. You're welcome. Featherstone's department store. Yes, sir, that's right. The 1 millionth person entering our Toyland will receive as a Christmas present any article on sale in our store. Yes, sir. A mink coat, a diamond ring, anything. Well, most any day now. You're welcome. Featherstone's department... Oh, Mr. Featherstone? Yes. Mr. Potter, to your office immediately? Yes, sir. I'll start paging him right now. You're welcome. Mr. Archibald Potter, report to Mr. Featherstone's office.
Now what does old Featherstone want? Grigsby, if they ever want you to be the manager of this store, walk. Do not run to the nearest exit.
Don't worry, Mr. Potter. I'm not after your job. I have trouble enough right here in the toy department.
You have troubles? Oh, I'll match troubles with you any day, Grigsby.
Oh, Mr. Grigsby. Mr. Grigsby.
Yes, Miss Lee?
Santa Claus is ill.
He's what?
He's indisposed. He's not feeling well. Santa Claus has a tummy ache.
Oh, no. No. He can't do this to me.
Mr. Archibald Potter, report to Mr. Featherstone's office right away.
There's Featherstone again.
Mr. Potter, if Santa Claus...
Grigsby, that's one of your troubles. I have troubles of my own. Chin up. Carry on.
Mr. Potter, report immediately to Mr. Featherstone's office. It is urgent.
I'm coming, F.W. I'm coming. If nothing else happens, I'll... I'm sorry. I'm awfully sorry. I beg your pardon. Did I hurt you?
No, I'm all right, really.
Well, that's my fault. It really is. I should have watched where I was going.
I wasn't watching either.
Wait, I'll pick up your packages. I hope I didn't break anything.
No, there's nothing fragile in any of them. Just a few trinkets. Some of the things that we don't have in England.
Oh, you're from England. Here,
Yes.
I think that's all your packages.
Thank you.
Well, you're from England. Well, what do you know? Well, we import a great many things from your country. I'm Archie Potter. I'm the manager of Featherstone.
Oh, how interesting.
So, you see, I shouldn't go around bumping into people. you said that your name was,
Mr. Potter, please report immediately to Mr. Featherstone's office, please.
Oh, there it goes again. All right. Oh, look. You're coming into the store again, aren't you?
Yes. I'll be here every day until I find what I'm looking for.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'll be seeing you then. Well, I've got to run now. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Potter. Goodbye.
She's beautiful. She's lovely. She's gorgeous. She's exquisite.
Who's that?
Archie Potter.
Come in.
Oh, yes, sir. Did you want to see me, Mr. Featherstone?
Yes, for the last half hour.
Well, I've been having a little trouble downstairs.
You're having trouble. Come up and match troubles with me sometime. Look here, Potter. You're the one who talked me into giving a Christmas present to the millionth visitor to Toyland.
Yes, F.W. I'm proud to say that was my idea.
Well, I've been thinking it over, and I don't like it.
But, F.W., you okayed it.
I know I did, but it's going to cost us too much money. His choice of anything in the store. What's the most expensive article we sell?
Oh, let me see. Probably that mink coat in the fur department. It sells for an even $4,000.
$4,000. Suppose the lucky person is a woman. Suppose she picks that mink coat.
Then we'll give it to her.
We'll give it to her, just like that.
Look, F.W., we've already got more than $4,000 worth of advertising out of this. Newspapers all over the country have played it up. And all the newspapers in town will send reporters and cameramen to cover it.
That's all well and good, but just the same...
And we've sold more than $4,000 worth of merchandise on account of it. In the toy department alone, our sales are up at least $30,000.
Well, that's encouraging. But I still hope she doesn't pick the mink coat.
F.W., haven't you any Christmas spirit?
Why should I? Nobody ever gave me anything. I've worked hard for every penny I've made. I've never found a Santa Claus to...
Oh, speaking of Santa Claus, that reminds me. May I use your telephone?
Go ahead.
Miss Carter, this is Potter speaking. Will you connect me with the toy department? Thank you.
What's the matter now?
Santa Claus isn't feeling well.
He hasn't got anything on the way I feel.
Oh, hello. This is Potter. May I speak to Mr. Grigsby? Oh, hello. Hello, Grigsby. He is? Is that so? Oh, yes, do that. I'll be down in just a few minutes.
What's wrong?
Santa Claus, just taken to the hospital. It looks like appendicitis.
Well, that's a fine thing. Now what are we going to do?
Oh, it's already been done, F.W. Grigsby, that nice-looking young chap in the toy department, he's offered to substitute for Santa. He's putting on Santa's outfit now.
Grigsby, eh? Will he want anything extra for it?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to give him a little extra.
Look here, Potter, you're mighty free with other people's money.
Well, I better go down and help Grigsby. Oh, the 7th floor is a madhouse. Everything's been happening down here today.
Why doesn't something good ever happen here?
Well, it does. Just this morning, I bumped into... Oh, F.W., she's gorgeous. She is the most beautiful...
What are you talking about?
She makes you think of white rose petals on black velvet. And she walks like a spring breeze in a field of daffodils.
Who?
Well, the young lady I bumped into. And as dainty as a Dresden china doll.
I hope you didn't break her.
Oh, no, I didn't. I just came around a corner, and there she was. And then she came around a corner, and there I was. And we sort of collided. F.W., do you believe in love at first sight?
Potter, stop making daisy chains out of my paper clips.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And she's about 5 feet, too.
Eyes of blue.
No. They're more like an amethyst.
And she walks like a spring breeze in a field of daffodils.
Oh, then you've seen her.
No, I haven't seen her. I'm quoting you. Potter, just how does a spring breeze walk in a field of daffodils? Go ahead, show me.
Well...
Oh, she knocks over ashtrays, too, eh?
I'm sorry. I'm sure. I didn't see it.
You'd better get out of here. Your spring breeze is too much like a tornado.
All right, F.W. I'll be back later. She does walk like a spring breeze.
Get out of here.
Grigsby, I see you're doubling in whiskers.
Yes, Mr. Potter. Somebody had to take Santa Claus's place, and I like kids, so I volunteered.
Good for you. But can you laugh like Santa Claus? You know, Santa has a deep, hearty laugh. Can you give us that?
I don't know. I have a lot of worries on my mind, but I'll try. How's this? Ho, 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 ho.
Oh, Grigsby, you can do better than that. Look, for a good, hearty laugh, I'll get you an extra $50.
Well, that's different. Oh, ho, ho, ho,
good, you got it. Now, you go out there and climb into Santa's sleigh and go to town.
Yes, sir.
Attaboy, Santa, attaboy. Well, that's settled. I wonder if I'll see her again today. She said she'd be coming back.
Oh, look, Jackie, here's Mr. Potter. Good afternoon, Mr. Potter, sir.
Well, Mrs. Jones and Jackie, too. Hi, Jackie.
Say hello to Mr. Potter.
Well, Mr. Potter.
Mr. Potter's the manager of this store.
Oh, he works here, too, huh?
Yes, Jackie. I work here just like your mother does. She cleans at night with a mop and a scrubbing brush, and I spend the day trying to keep it clean. Confidentially, hers is a better job.
I think so, too.
Jackie. Mr. Potter, I brought Jackie down to see Santa Claus.
Oh, yes? Well, Jackie, there he is, way over there at the other end of Toyland.
Oh, yeah. I see him now. He doesn't look as fat as he did last year.
Well, Santa has worried a lot lately. Some of his little girls and boys haven't been so good.
Oh, I've been a good boy.
Yes, Jackie's been a very good boy, Mr. Potter. Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if he were the millionth person to enter Toyland?
It certainly would. Jackie, if you could have anything you wanted in the whole store, what would you pick?
A cowboy suit.
Well, for F.W.'s sake, let's hope you're the one.
By the way, Mr. Potter, what's happened to the window display we always have at Christmas time?
Which one, Mrs. Jones?
The one that shows the Christ child in the manger, and the bright star and the wise men.
Oh, you mean the nativity scene?
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't we have that one this year?
No, we don't, sir.
Well, now that you mention it, I don't remember seeing it. Why, that window was traditional at Featherstone's. Oh, the window trimmers will hear about this.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it.
I'm glad you did, Mrs. Jones. I'll have that window set up tonight.
Oh, that'll be fine. It's such a beautiful scene.
Hey, Mom, come on.
Oh, all right, Jackie. He's getting impatient, so I guess I'd better go.
I'll see you tonight, Mrs. Jones. You too, Jackie. Let's see now. She might be down on the 4th floor in the dress department. They don't have dresses like that in England. Yes. I think I'll get down there. Oh, there he goes again. All right, F.W. A head as light as a feather and a heart as hard as a stone. That's Featherstone.
Well?
Everything's under control, F.W. Grigsby makes a fine substitute Santa. He's laughing his head off.
What's he so happy about?
I promised him an extra $50.
Oh, stop giving away my money.
Grigsby deserves it, F.W.
Well, maybe he is helping business. Oh, all right, give it to him. That reminds me. When will the millionth person enter Toyland?
Well, at the rate they're coming in, it ought to happen about noon tomorrow. We'd like to have you there, F.W.
I'll be there. I want to kiss that $4,000 mink coat goodbye. Of course, not many people know that we have a $4,000 mink coat here, do they?
Oh, yes. It's in the front window.
What?
Yes. It's been there all week.
Oh, why did I ever own a department store?
And speaking of windows, do you know that somebody forgot to set up our nativity window? You know, window number 12.
I hate to pull out that merchandise display for something that doesn't bring us any business. After all, it's Christmas.
Listen, F.W., that star-spangled Christmas tree you have in the main lobby, that's not Christmas. Even the 7th floor Toyland with Santa Claus, that's not Christmas. But that little scene in Bethlehem, that's Christmas. The real Christmas.
Potter, there isn't a window trimmer at this late date to start.
I'll fix it myself tonight. And all by myself if I have to.
Someday you're going to turn the wrong corner. Potter, have you seen your spring breeze blowing around anymore?
No, I haven't, F.W., but I'm hoping. Oh, she has a voice like music in the moonlight. And her eyes, they're so deep, you could fall right in and drown.
Potter, don't let this infatuation run away with you. Remember, your first love is Featherstone's department store.
F.W., I have enough troubles without reminding me of that.
Oh, Mr. Potter, that window's going to be beautiful. I didn't know you could trim windows, too.
Well, Mrs. Jones, to tell you the truth, I didn't know I could either. But a subject like the Nativity, it's inspiration.
Oh, it's just like a beautiful picture. The manger and the little Christ child and the bright star.
I wonder if Jackie succeeded in finding some straw. Then we'll be finished.
Mr. Potter, don't you think that Mary, the mother, should be closer to the manger, sort of bending over like?
Well, Mrs. Jones, you're right. I'll fix that.
Here's some straw, Mr. Potter. I found some in a box.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. That's just the right kind of straw. Miss Jones, I'm afraid we're making a mess for you to clean up.
Oh, my land, Mr. Potter. That's what I'm here for. See, Jackie, he's putting the straw in the manger around the little Christ child.
Yes, Jackie. This shows you what happened many, many years ago in a little town called Bethlehem.
Was he a real baby?
Oh, yes, indeed, Jackie. This is one Christmas story that's real and true.
That's what I was talking to Jackie about this afternoon, Mr. Potter.
Yes, Christmas is the birthday of the infant Jesus.
That's the real meaning of Christmas, Jackie. Mrs. Jones, you're a very devout person.
And why shouldn't I be? I'm on my knees the whole night through. And I try to pray just as sincerely with a scrubbing brush in my hand as I do with my prayer book.
Mr. Porter, when I brought the straw in, I noticed something. There's a man in one of the show windows.
A man? Well, we don't have any window trimmers working tonight.
Well, there's a man in one of them.
Which one?
That big window down there.
Why, that's where the furs are. Why, there's a $4,000. You wait here, Jackie. I'm going to go and take a look.
And I'll go with you, sir. And I'll take my mop along just in case.
Yes, all right. Come on. But everybody now, be careful. Now, I cannot imagine how a man got in. Unless he hid in the store.
Maybe that's what he did. We'll soon find out.
Shh. This is the window. Yes. The door into the window is open.
Now you chase him out, and I'll swat him with a mop.
All right. Get ready. What's going on in here?
Oh, hello, Potter.
Why, hello, Mr. Featherstone. It's you.
Well, who did you expect? Miss Hush?
It's all right, Miss Jones. It's the old man. It's Mr. Featherstone himself.
No, sure. And I was all ready to knock somebody for a home run.
F.W., what are you doing in the fur window?
I was looking at this $4,000 mink. Is that it?
That's it.
It doesn't look so wonderful. Why, here's one for $325 that looks so much like it you can hardly tell the difference.
Well, the cheaper one is a copy of it. An imitation mink. It's a good imitation, and it's a good coat. But it's not the real thing.
I see. Well, you don't have to put a spotlight on this $4,000 one. It's too conspicuous. That's the first thing somebody's going to think of when he has choice of anything in the store.
Well, we're trying to sell the coat before that happens, F.W. That's the only $4,000 coat we have. If we can sell it, then we won't have to give it away.
I never thought of that. Put 2 spotlights on it.
Okay, F.W.
Say, Mom, is that old man Featherstone?
Hush, Jackie. Yes, this is the man who owns the store.
Who's this?
This is Mrs. Jones of the cleaning department.
And this is my boy, Jackie.
My mother says you're a fine man.
Well, she does, eh?
She says you give a lot of work to a lot of people.
Yes, I guess I do.
But she says you're a lonely old codger, too.
Jackie! Never mind him, Mr. Featherstone.
The boy is right, Mrs. Jones. I am a lonely old codger.
Mom, why don't we invite Mr. Featherstone over to our house for Christmas dinner?
Oh, no, Jackie. Mr. Featherstone already has a place to eat Christmas dinner.
Yes, of course. I always eat Christmas dinner at my club. But thank you just the same.
Come on, Jackie. We mustn't bother Mr. Featherstone. And besides that, I've got the main lobby to scrub.
Bye, Mr. Featherstone.
Goodbye, Jackie. Mrs. Jones. Christmas dinner, eh? Do you suppose the boy meant it?
I'm sure he meant it.
They'd enjoy having me?
Why, certainly they would. They're real people. You're not a millionaire to them. You're just
a lonely old codger. Well, Potter, you might as well get back to your Christmas window. I saw it from outside. It's mighty nice.
Wow. Well, thanks. All right, F.W., I'll go back and finish it.
Do that. A $4,000 mink coat and a $325 coat that looks just like it. Now, if somebody accidentally switched the price tags on those 2 coats just for one day, who would know the difference? Then, if somebody picks the $4,000 one, it would only cost us $325. Why not? Oh, Featherstone. That's what's wrong with you. You're always thinking about money. That's why you're a lonely old codger.
Kindly step back, folks. Let the people get into Toyland. Don't crowd, please. Don't crowd. Remember, there are children here.
Potter, are we getting near the finish?
Oh, there you are, F.W. I was afraid you'd miss it. One at a time, please. Go through the turnstile in single file. Yes, we're counting the last 100. It'll happen any minute now.
Good. I'll be glad to get it over with.
Oh, yes. It's been great, F.W. Oh, look. Look, there she is.
Oh, what are you talking about?
That's her. That's the girl who,
Oh, you mean the spring breeze. Say, she's all right.
F.W., she's getting in line. She's coming into Toyland. Oh, if she could only be the 1 millionth person.
Potter, that sort of thing only happens in books.
Well, she's 1 in a million, of course, if she could only be the one in this million. Miss Hunter, what's the count?
75.
75, 76, 77, 70. It could be 99, 80. She's getting closer. 81, 82.
83. She'll never make it. 84, 85.
86. It's going to be close. 7, 88. She's 89.
90, 91. You know how to pick 'em. 92, 93. She's not bad. 94.
95. Oh, I'm afraid. Look at the 96 and 7. I'll never be the same again. 98, 99. 1 million. She made it! Ma'am, you are it.
I don't understand. What's all this about?
Well, haven't you read our advertisements? You're the 1 millionth person entering our Toyland.
Oh, dear.
And now I can find out your name.
I'm Margaret Allen.
Mrs. or Miss, I hope. That's wonderful. And you're from...
From Liverpool.
That's marvelous. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the happy pleasure to announce that the 1 millionth person entering Toyland is Miss Margaret Allen of Liverpool, England. Cameraman from the papers are here, Miss Allen. Will you pose for a picture, please?
Yes, I'm so bewildered by all this sudden attention. I'd
Hold on, Potter. I want you in this picture, too. After all, I'm only the owner of the stall.
Oh, yes. Excuse me, Miss Allen. This is F.W. Featherstone himself.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr. Featherstone.
How do you do, young lady? Now, you fellows with the cameras, be sure you get all 3 of us in.
Hold it now. There. Thanks, fellas, thanks.
Now, young lady, what do you want for Christmas?
I don't understand.
Well, it's like this, Miss Allen. For being the 1 millionth person to enter Toyland, you get your choice of any article on sale in the store.
Oh, goodness, you mean any article I want?
Yes, anything from a stick of gum to a $4,000 mink coat.
Yes, anything you want.
I know what I want. I don't know whether I'll ever be able to use it, but this is what I want. A wedding gown.
A wedding gown?
You shall have the best wedding gown in the store. Better than that, I'll include a complete wedding trousseau.
Oh, Mr. Featherstone, I don't know how to thank you.
Well, wait. What I would like to know is, who is the lucky man?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
You see, in England during the war, I met an American soldier. I fell in love with him. We planned to be married on Christmas Day, but he was called away from England.
Oh, well, that was a tough break.
While he was gone, my home in Liverpool was struck by a bomb. Oh, I spent months and months in the hospital, and when I got out, I was well physically, but I couldn't remember anything.
Amnesia?
Well, that's what they called it. I couldn't even remember the name of my sweetheart. I'm sure if I see him, I'll know him and it'll all come back.
But how did you happen to come in here to Featherstone?
Well, I found a letter in my belongings. It was just signed Joe, but I'm sure it was from him. And he said in his letter that when the war was over, he'd go back to his old job at Featherstone.
We have a lot of returned soldiers here. Half of them are named Joe.
I started coming here yesterday. I intended to go to every department of the store and see if I could find him.
Well, if he's in the store, we'll find him for you.
Miss Allen, I'm from the Daily Gazette. Would you mind posing with Santa Claus while we take a picture?
That's a good idea. You know, Potter, giving this Christmas present and making this young lady so happy has made me feel good, too.
That's the fun you've been missing, F.W. Come on, Miss Allen. Santa Claus over here.
Oh, and what do you want, little man?
Here you are. Here's Santa Claus, Miss Allen. Climb right into the sleigh with him. Come on, F.W. You get in, too. You've been kind of a Santa Claus to her.
Margaret. It's Margaret. Margaret Allen.
Grigsby, do you know this girl?
Know her? I hunted all over England for her.
Grigsby! Joe Grigsby, it's you! Oh, Joe!
Margaret!
Why, Potter, I thought you...
Oh, my dream girl. And what happens? She marries Santa Claus. And a substitute Santa at that.
Substitute Santa starred Frank McHugh as Mr. Potter, with James Burke as Mr. Featherstone. Now, here is your Family Theater host for tonight, Ray Milland.
This is the age of invention, the day of scientific discovery. There are discoveries in atomic power and supersonics. There are inventions for super planes, super bridges, super buildings, and millions of other inventions that find their way to farms, factories, and homes. No one questions the progress made in things scientific and intellectual. But what about the simple art of living together? And the simplest art, because it's so fundamental, the art of living together as a family. In a land of freedom, each man's home is his castle. A home isn't only built of stone or bricks or walls or roof. It's built with the spirit of a boy and girl who pledge their unchanging love in the sacred bond of marriage. And where there's God's blessing in the daily practice of family prayer in a home, it is in truth an unchanging love, because the family that prays together stays together. Before saying goodnight, I'd like to thank Frank McHugh and James Burke for their performances this evening. Our thanks to Harry Lawrence for writing tonight's play and to Max Terr for his music. This production of Family Theater Incorporated was directed by David Young. Others who appeared in tonight's play were Una Mordeched, Margie List, Joe Graham, Bob Rockwell, Gwen Delano, Phil Bernard, and Bob Young. Next week, our Family Theater stars will be Johnny Johnston and Katherine Grayson in A Rose by Any Other Name. And your host will be Don Amici. This is Ray Milland saying good night and God bless you.
This series of the Family Theater broadcasts is made possible by the thousands of you who felt the need for this kind of program, by the Mutual Broadcasting System, which has responded to this need, and by a friend of the New York Foundling Hospital, which cares for homeless and motherless babies without distinction of race, creed, or color. Be with us next week at the same time when our Family Theater stars will be Johnny Johnston and Katherine Grayson, with Don Amici as host. Tony Lafrano speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Campana's First Nighter program. From the Little Theater off Times Square. Starring Barbara Lottie and Olin Soule with an all-star cast. And sent you by Campana, the quality name in cosmetics. Theater time. And tonight, just ahead of Christmas, the Little Theater off Times Square is delighted to comply with the requests of thousands of its friends from coast to coast by offering for the 9th time the now famous Christmas play, Little Town of Bethlehem, the Bible story of the carpenter and his wife and their baby born in a manger. Among radio listeners, including members of the clergy, the annual presentation of the Little Town of Bethlehem has become an occasion of deep spiritual significance, a time when whole families, young and old, gather at the radio sets to enjoy the inspiration which attends the retelling of those memorable happenings in Bethlehem on a night long ago. The hour of the performance is drawing near, so let me introduce our host for the evening, Mr. First Nighter.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted that you can be with us tonight for the most celebrated performance of the year in the Little Theater. My cab is waiting. Won't you join me? All right, driver.
Right there. Read all about it here.
Up Broadway and across 42nd Street. Yes, the Great White Way looks like one big, dazzling Christmas tree tonight. And now just ahead is the Little Theater off Times Square. Here we are.
Have your tickets ready, please. Have your tickets ready, please. Good evening, Mr. First Nighter. The usher will show you to your seat.
Thank you. We'll go right in. sponsor of the first night of program, Campana Sales Company, together with all of their employees, wish to contribute to your enjoyment of the first Peace Christmas since 1940 by the presentation of the sacred story of the birth of Christ in a manger in Bethlehem. We enter eagerly into the opportunity of offering you this evening the Christmas play, Little Town of Bethlehem, by Anthony Wayne. In tonight's performance, Barbara Luddy will play the part of Mary, part of Joseph will be played by Olin Soule. An all-star supporting cast, including Sidney Elstrom, Hugh Studebaker, Herbert Butterfield, Willard Waterman, and Philip Lord, will portray the other characters. Since tonight's performance will be interrupted only by music between the acts, here is Mr. Billsbury with a special Yuletide greeting.
Thank you and good evening. It is appropriate, I think, and it is heartfelt, too, this greeting I want to convey to you. It comes from Campana Sales Company, the sponsor, and all of their employees. They join together this evening in wishing you a very Merry Christmas, and they want to express with warm gratitude their appreciation of your loyalty to them during the past year. You and your friends all over the United States and Canada have chosen and used Campana products in ever-increasing quantities. And we cannot let this year-end pass by without saying thank you. During the past year, there became available again some of the ingredients which, for a long time, had been dedicated wholly to the war effort. As a result, we've been able to again stock the stores nationwide with what many women call their favorite wintertime hand lotion, rich, concentrated, original Campana Balm. We're delighted, as we know you are, that this famous cold weather lotion could be reinstated on the toilet's goods counters in time for the winter weather this year. If by chance you've not been aware that original Campana Balm is back in circulation again, just ask for it in its sparkling green and white carton at your nearest store. During 1945, we've made countless friends also with the famous Solitaire Cake Makeup. Solitaire Cake Makeup contains lanolin, and more women every day are discovering the sure, smooth complexion beauty that Solitaire gives them so easily, so quickly, and hour after hour without redoing. In the more recent months just past, countless friends have written us their compliments about the new and exciting Solitaire Fashion Point lipstick, the lip-shaped lipstick, the only stick with a point that is shaped to fit your lips. Such acceptance is more than gratifying to all the workers at Campana, because we all have a very real pride in producing for you the very finest beauty aids that our hands can fashion. And now, may your Christmas be the merriest on record, and your new year brighter than ever before.
The lights are out, and the curtain rises on the first act of Little Town of Bethlehem.
What is your name? Josiah, son of Obed, son of Asa, the son of Zacharias, the son of...
Hold! Caesar does not ask who your ancestors were. Give me only your name.
Josiah of Bethlehem.
The name of your wife?
Leah.
Your trade and the number of your children.
I am a shepherd with 7 children. My flock's in the hills nearby, and
Enough. How much property do you own?
My house and 50 sheep.
That is all. Who is the next? And what is your name?
Joseph, the son of Jacob, the son of Matan, the son of Eliezer.
Hold. Must every Jew who registers recite his lineage to me? Did you not hear me say that all I wanted was your name?
But I am descended from the kings of Judea, from the great King David.
I know. So is everyone in Bethlehem. But the Roman emperor cares nothing about that. This is a Roman census.
I'm sorry.
I could have been through the enrollment by now if you Jews were not so garrulous. Come, is this your wife?
My name is Mary. I, too, am of the line of David.
Your voice sounds tired. Have you come far?
From the town of Nazareth in Galilee.
Sit down on that bench and rest a moment.
Thank you.
Now, Joseph, what is your trade, how many children, and how much property?
I am a carpenter.
I have no property except my tools and the animal on which my wife has ridden from Nazareth. There are no children, as yet.
Very well. That is all.
Pardon, my lord, but we have no place to sleep. There was no room at the inn. Can you help me?
The town is filled with those who return for the enrollment. I can do nothing. Oh, wait. Do you see that man talking with the soldier at the roadside? That is Simon, a rich merchant. He has a large house. He may have room for you.
Thank you. Come, Mary.
You have found a place for us to rest.
We will ask for a place to rest. Pardon, sir. You're the merchant, Simon?
Yes. What do you want?
I am Joseph of Nazareth, and this is my wife, Mary. The Roman governor said you might have some room in your house where we could sleep.
I have no room. The governor and his men are staying with me.
If you only had some small corner where we could rest.
My wife is very weary, sir.
I have said that my house is filled. You may sleep in the stable if you wish. That is all I can do for you.
The stable?
Let us go there, Joseph. We have tried so many places.
A stable, Mary? It is not what I would like.
We must be content. Lift me up to the saddle. There. If you lead the way, the little beast will follow.
Oh, Simon. I'm tired of listening to this babble. Claudius, take my place here. I'm going to rest.
Taking the census is an exhausting task, my lord.
Everyone in Judea must spring from Bethlehem. People have been pouring into the town all day.
Bethlehem is the city of David.
And everyone who is registered here claims descent from him.
That is true. And the dream of every mother of David's line is that she will bear the king of Micah's prophecy.
Micah's prophecy?
Have you never heard it? But thou, Bethlehem, though thou be little among the thousands of Judea, yet out of thee shall come forth he that is to be ruler in Israel.
So that's the prophecy, eh? You're all waiting for this new king.
Many believe he will come, my lord.
And you, Simon? What about you? Do you believe it?
I? Oh, it is rather the shepherds who talk of it.
I see. You're very careful, Simon. Perhaps you fear Herod, your king.
Herod despises the prophecy of Micah. He hates Bethlehem.
It would be well to keep this legend from him, then. But tell me about the carpenter and his wife from Nazareth. Did they find lodging?
I offered them my stable.
Your stable? Was there no room in your house?
The stable is good enough for such as they. My house is kept for Romans, my lord.
Oh, it's little wonder, Simon, that you are a rich and powerful man in Bethlehem. You have all the necessary qualities.
Thank you. If you are ready now to go to my house...
Oh, not yet. The enrollment will be going on far into the night. Oh, this town of Bethlehem is really beautiful, Simon.
Ah, my lord, in the days of David, Bethlehem was great.
One can see that. But the sons of David are not the warriors that he was. These crumbling walls, these broken battlements. And yet you believe that your next king will come from here.
No, that, as I have told you, is but the tale of shepherds. A Roman soldier need not... Hark! Some nobleman is at the city gate. Who can it be?
We shall soon see.
Make way for King Herod! It is King Herod. King Herod has come to Bethlehem. I shall have a king, the ruler of Judea, as my guest tonight. Oh, I am the proudest man in the world.
The curtain comes down on the first act of the little town of Bethlehem.
second act of tonight's play.
Here, Mary. We can clear out this little space and be comfortable. Let me spread the blanket for you.
You are so good to me, Joseph.
You're tired, Mary. There. Now lie down.
Could you not bring the beast in out of the cold?
It is cold. But it is a clear, still night, Mary. Everything is peaceful. And there's a wonderful star over the courtyard. Can you see it through the open door?
Yes, I can see it. All the others are a white mist. Is it standing still? It seems to stand still.
Make way, make way. Stand aside.
What is that, Joseph?
Just someone bringing horses into the stable.
It's the merchant himself, Joseph. He is leading the horses over here.
I pray, sir, you're frightening my wife.
Oh, the man from Nazareth. I'm sorry, but you will have to move. King Herod honors my house tonight. These are the horses of his party.
King Herod?
But his horses must have the best stalls.
But what are we to do? My wife...
All my life I have prayed that I might be honored by a visit from the king.
Surely you would not turn us out.
Move down to the other end of the stable. That stall where you see a manger. You can sleep there.
That will do, Joseph. Let us move.
I'm sorry, Mary. I seem able to do so little for you.
It does not matter. I am supremely happy.
I wish I had a better place to offer you, but one does not often have a visit from a king. He is at supper now with the Roman governor. I must go back to them.
That is true, Simon. One does not often have a visit from a king.
I regret to hear that you have so few about you whom you can trust, King Herod.
There is no man whom a king can trust, Quirinius. Those whom I have loved most dearly have betrayed me. My wife, one of my sons plotted against me.
That is very sad.
And paid with their heads. Now my youngest son, him who I trusted above all others, was turned against me.
And he, too, has paid with his head?
Not yet. I have but to reach the ear of Caesar.
I see.
You understand me, Quirinius. Let me tell you this. Great Caesar has no more faithful friend in all Judea than I, Herod.
I'm sure of that.
Bend close, Quirinius. There is something I would say to you. I suspect there may be treason brewing here in Bethlehem. These men have a myth about their descent from David. They plot continually for a new king, a Messiah who will come out of Bethlehem.
I've heard the prophecy.
But don't you see, they're plotting against me.
It amounts to little. They've been talking of this for hundreds of years.
I am not so sure. When I called the scribes of the people together and asked them where this child was to be born, they said, in Bethlehem.
Is that why you've come to Bethlehem tonight?
Perhaps. And perhaps I shall stay longer than a night, just to make sure these Jews are not plotting. What is that babble outside?
Probably some of your Greek mercenaries gambling with my men.
Simon? Simon, where are you?
I am here, O king.
Then quiet those brawlers in your courtyard.
I shall do so at once. Quiet! Quiet for the king! This Roman soldier does not understand us, Simon. I know your faces. You are shepherds from the hills. What do you want? We bring tidings of great joy, Simon. As we watched our flocks in the fields tonight, an angel of the Lord stood beside us. Speak softly. And the bright light shone around us, so that we were afraid. But the angel said, "Fear not. I bring you good news, which shall be a joy to all people. For there is born in Bethlehem a Savior."
You are mad. Do you want us all put to the sword?
"And this shall be a sign to you. You will find the child wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger."
In a manger?
And there was a song in the air, a heavenly throng, Simon, singing.
Silence! You are mad. Would the king of Micah's prophecy be born in a manger?
But we spoke with an angel of the Lord.
You must forget what happened. Go back to your flocks. There is no king born in a manger. Only a carpenter and his wife from Nazareth are resting in the stable.
We have come to worship the newborn Messiah.
Be off! There is no king but Herod. And if Herod should hear you, it would go hard with all the men of Bethlehem. Be off! Off!
Ah, Simon. Who are your visitors?
Oh, Quirinius, is it you? You followed me?
Only to help you if my help were needed. Who were those men?
Just shepherds, moon-crazed shepherds. They told a wild tale of hearing angel voices.
I thought I heard them speak of a Messiah. How does it go? "But thou, Bethlehem, out of thee shall come he that is to be ruler in Israel"?
My lord is pleased to jest, but I pray you will not speak of this. I am so afraid of the king. My lord, I beg you not to speak of it to Herod.
I think Herod has already heard.
And the curtain comes down on the second act of tonight's play. The last act of Little Town of Bethlehem.
Once more, Simon, I must ask you. Those shepherds, you are sure they were not conspirators in disguise?
No, King. They were only shepherds.
Word has been brought me that they sought the king of Israel.
They said that as they tended their flocks that night, an angel appeared to announce that the king honored Bethlehem by his presence.
An angel announced my presence, eh? Did you hear that, Quirinius? Good omen, is it not?
It may, perhaps, mean much to your kingdom.
All Judea knows your greatness, O king.
But why? Simon, why did you not bring them to me, then?
They were but rough men with the smell of their flocks about them. I did not want to disturb you when you were feasting.
I see. You are sure it was I they sought? There was no talk of the ruler of Israel who is to come out of Bethlehem?
Surely your majesty does not believe that fantastic prophecy.
I am wary of everything, Quirinius. Today, 3 astrologers from the east came to me. and asked for the newborn king of the Jews. They had seen his star rise in the east, they said, and followed it here. You remember the shepherd spoke of that star?
It is only the old legend.
Perhaps. I told the wise men to look diligently for the child and to send me word when they had found him, so that I too might do him homage. Homage. I would put him to death. I would kill him if I had to make away with all the boys under 2 years old in Bethlehem.
Spoken like a king, O Herod. But now, if you'll permit me, I'll go to bed. 9 days of feasting find me weary, and tomorrow there's much to do. Good night.
You move on to Jerusalem tomorrow, Quirinius?
Yes. Will you honor me with your company?
We shall ride together.
I thank you. Good night.
Are you resting, Mary? You're quiet.
I think of the shepherds, Joseph. I want to treasure up all they said and ponder it. David's throne and endless reign. The old prophecy coming from their lips. I am the happiest woman in the world tonight.
He is the most beautiful baby in the world tonight, Mary.
He is saintly. See the even flow of his breath, Joseph. You feel a mingled joy and terror watching it. The joy of life and the terror of death.
Do not speak of death.
Joseph, you're troubled. You are frightened. What is it?
It is Herod, feasting there in Simon's house these past days. I had a dream. An angel of the Lord came to me and said, "Arise, take the child and his mother and flee into Egypt, for Herod will look for the child in order to kill him."
Joseph, what is that?
I do not know. Shh, quiet.
We seek a babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, the Christ Jesus.
How did you know his name? Who are you?
We are 3 kings from the east. We have followed his star and ridden fast to find and worship the King of the Jews. The star stood still over Bethlehem.
So it is written by the prophet. Come, wise men, here is the child.
The child who shall be king of the world. His goings forth have been from old, from everlasting, and he shall tread upon the high places of the earth.
Joseph, do you hear what they say?
Yes, Mary.
Let us lay down our gifts before him.
Caskets of gold.
Gold as tribute to a king. Frankincense for the priest. And myrrh for the body's burying. We must make haste and ride away. We have been warned in a dream to return to our own country, lest Herod destroy us.
You hear what he says, Mary. Even as we were warned to flee into Egypt, lest Herod seek the child to destroy him. It is close to morning. Are you equal to leaving at once?
Yes, let us go. We must not think of ourselves, only of him. Let us go without delay.
Herod is sleeping now. If you would escape his malice and hatred...
We will wait for you at the city gate.
I have the animal ready, Mary. Come, let me lift you up. There. And put the child in your arms.
Wait, Joseph. That man outside.
The Roman governor.
Ah, man of Nazareth. You were leaving before dawn?
We have obeyed the decree of Caesar Augustus and enrolled. We must now return. We have a long journey before us.
Yes, a long journey. I did not mean to disturb you. I was restless and could not sleep. Oh, what have we here? So, a new little carpenter.
Yes, a new little carpenter.
And like every Jew, I suppose you dream that he will be the prophesied ruler of Israel?
We have great expectations.
Well, after a stay in this city, listening to your prophecies and visions, I only wonder that a new king has not been born.
What faith you Jews have.
You have no fear of our faith? Like Herod?
Romans are soldiers. You Jews dream too much. But go your way, good carpenter. I even hope, perhaps, that your son may be the long-awaited leader of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, we ring down the curtain on our Christmas play in the little theater off Times Square. The audience has responded to the spirit of reverence with which our talented players have portrayed their roles. If you like tonight's performance, a letter from you would be appreciated. Now, the members of the First Nighter cast send you and your family their most sincere good wishes for the holiday season. First Nighter program, a copyrighted radio feature, brought you tonight a play taken from the Bible. If you enjoyed the performance, a letter from you would be appreciated. A word from our audience is always appreciated.
Saturday night on CBS is the biggest show in town. Listen again for First Nighter next Saturday at this same time, and stay tuned for the Dick Haymes Show, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Cricket on the Hearth. The National Broadcasting Company presents Charles Dickens' immortal Christmas story, The Cricket on the Hearth.
Old Caleb Plummer and his blind daughter lived all alone by themselves in a little cracked nutshell of a wooden house. And what a miserable little place it was. But under its crazy little roof lived the man who did the work which made Gruff and Tackleton famous. You see, Gruff and Tackleton sold toys, and it was Caleb Plummer who made them. Yes, Caleb Plummer made toys and lived in his shabby little house, while Gruff and Tackleton became the largest toy merchants in all England. And so, even on the night before Christmas, Caleb Plummer sat in the toy shop, carving away industriously at some last-minute animal.
There now, just a shade more off the flanks. A little curve to the horns, and you'll be the finest little ox to go into the ark. Be a good little ox. Keep warm. Make somebody happy tomorrow for Christmas. I'm coming. Just a moment. Oh, Mr. Tackleton. Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Tackleton.
What's that?
Merry Christmas to you, sir. The best you've ever had.
Christmas? Oh, that. I didn't come here to talk about Christmas, Plummer. Don't believe in it. Have no use for it except in a business way. What about those orders? Have you finished the Jack-in-the-Box?
Yes, sir. Here it is. Look.
Oh, take it away, horrible thing.
The children love them, sir.
Ah, the children. Don't mention their names to me. Spent my life making toys for them. I'm sick of children. Sick of toys. Let's hear no more about it. What of the ark?
I just put the last animal inside.
It's ready to go now.
How about Noah?
Up in front on the deck, see him? And here at the window is Noah's wife, see, through this porthole.
All right, just so you've got them. Well, you can run along now, Plummer.
You won't need me any more tonight, then?
No, but come in a little earlier tomorrow morning to make up for it.
But tomorrow is Christmas, sir.
Well, what of it?
But on Christmas, surely you don't mean...
Surely I do mean it. Have you forgotten your place, Mr. Plummer? If you feel the need of taking Christmas off, why, there are 100 good toy makers in London who would be glad to take your place. Why, sir, they'd fight for the chance.
You mean you'd dismiss me if I didn't come in tomorrow?
That's right, Plummer. Out you go, just like that.
But my daughter...
She's your daughter, not mine. I can't stop business just because you've got a daughter and she's blind. Business is a thing which doesn't wait for Christmas or your daughter or anything else. Now, will you or won't you be in tomorrow?
I'll be in, sir.
And an hour earlier, too.
Yes, sir. Please, sir, if you could advance me a little, just a little, on next week's pay.
Advance you? What about last week's pay? Have you squandered it already?
No, sir. It went for food and for canvas to tack up over the ceiling.
And what's wrong with the ceiling?
There are holes in places. The snow drifts in at night sometimes, so we just thought we'd buy canvas and not trouble you with our silly problem.
Yeah.
So, you see, our money, it didn't quite stretch, and, well...
Well, what? Speak up, Plummer.
Well, it's gone, sir.
Are you without food?
No, sir, but...
You have wood for the stove?
Yes, sir.
There's sufficient covering for the bed?
Yes, sir.
In other words, you're asking me for money when you already have food, warmth, and a bed to lie in? Plummer, that's downright greed. As for the advance, no. You spent your past wages, now you must wait until next week. You must learn thrift.
But could you... Only a few pence, that's all. She's blind, sir. All alone in the house, all day. In the dark, all alone. Nothing to live for but her father's footstep on the stairs. Please, sir, a tree would mean so much to her.
I'm sorry, Plummer. There's no good working on my sentiment. I'm determined to teach you a lesson, and teach you I shall, even though it hurts me to do so. Good night, Plummer. And remember, 1 hour earlier tomorrow morning, Christmas or no Christmas.
Caleb Plummer walked home very slowly that night, the only sad and dismal figure on the crowded street. Everywhere else, there was Christmas. The whole street was alive and warm with the joy of Christmas. You could hear it in the laughter of their voices as they shouted back and forth.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas to you, sir!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, Harry! Merry Christmas, Alf!
You could see Christmas in the small boys and girls. They stood before the greengrocer's window and stared with round eyes at the things inside.
Look at that turkey. Would you look at that turkey?
Oh, he's the biggest turkey I ever saw.
No, he's not the biggest, but he's almost the biggest. The one Grandma had last year was the biggest.
Was not. The wings on this one are bigger.
They are not.
They are so.
They are not.
They are so.
They are not.
You could see Christmas in the shops. They were crammed full of it, bursting with it. Christmas overflowed from their cheerful interiors like stuffing from a roast fowl. There were mince pies on the counters with a sprig of holly stuck in each one, and baked hams stuck full of cloves like huge red pincushions. And all of it together, breathing the warmth and cheer of Christmas morrow. Everywhere there was Christmas. Everywhere except in the heart of Caleb Plummer. He walked around the square, scarcely looking in the shops, scarcely aware of the crowds that jostled against him. He just plodded along, very tired, very old, very much alone. And then, almost before he knew it, he was home.
Father, it's you. For a moment, I didn't recognize your step. It was so different. You must be tired tonight.
Tired? What a silly girl you are. Your father's much too young a man to grow tired. How was the day, Mary?
Oh, not too long. I sewed dolls' dresses all morning. And then this afternoon, I put shoe-button eyes on the animals.
If it were only as easy to...
To put eyes on me. That's what you were going to say, wasn't it? Sometimes I wish I could, too. Just look at the world through shoe-button eyes. But, well, it really doesn't matter too much. I have my own world here. It's a kind and comfortable world. Perhaps that's because I've always seen it through your eyes.
Do you mean that, Mary?
Yes.
But all the same, you do want to see, don't you?
Oh, sometimes, yes. When I'm alone here, and the clock ticks, and the darkness is all over. Times like that, if it weren't for the cricket, I don't think I could...
Is he still here?
Oh, yes.
And he still chirps away?
All the time. He keeps me from being lonely.
They say it's luck, Mary. To have a cricket on the hearth is the luckiest thing in the world.
Father, is anything wrong? You seem so quiet tonight, and you speak strangely.
Oh, not a thing, girl, not a thing. A hard day at the shop, but that's all.
Oh, that's not the real reason, Father. But now I know what it is.
What?
Without asking, I know there's a fir tree in the room. Your step didn't have its usual lightness tonight, and that's what you were carrying. You even set it down without my hearing it. It's true, isn't it, Father?
Yes, it's true, Mary.
Oh, where is it? Let me feel its branches.
Oh, it's in the far corner of the room. Right near the window where it's cool.
Oh, lead me over to it, Father.
No, not tonight. Tomorrow morning, bright and early. Oh, on Christmas morning. That's when a tree should first be discovered.
Oh, but can't I even touch it?
Tomorrow morning, yes.
Oh, then see it for me now. What does it look like?
It's a young tree, dark and bushy, with its branches curving up to heaven. The cones on it are tiny and dry, and there's still a few snowflakes left in the branches. It's a Christmas tree, Mary, so small, so filled with greenness and life, that the Christ child himself might have blessed it and sent it here to us. It's a Christmas tree such as you've never dreamed of.
And so, on that Christmas Eve, Mary dreamed of a small fir tree with bright berries of holly entwined in its branches. She dreamed of snow and the jingling of sleigh bells, and she saw the Yule log burn cheerfully in the fireplace. She heard the chestnuts pop and crackle, and from somewhere on the hearth, she even heard the voice of her merry friend, the cricket. Outside, the church bells rang and pealed and reverberated over the white roofs of London. And inside, the cricket chirped as though he too would add his bit of praise to that of the bells. Lying there on his cot, shivering in the coldness of the room, Caleb Plummer closed his eyes. In the silence of his heart, he spoke as though to a friend.
Don't let her find out now, dear Lord. She doesn't have to know that I'm an old man and that it's a hovel here. She doesn't have to know that. I've given her another world. Maybe it's a make-believe one, but it's real to her. That's why I say, Lord, please keep it that way for her. Don't let her find out. I believe if you set a tree down in that corner tonight, it would be there tomorrow. It really would, Lord, and I believe it. Please make a miracle. Please let a tree be there when she wakes up tomorrow.
Caleb Plummer fell asleep, believing in a miracle. And the cricket began to chirp again, and his song was like a blessing to the room. But in another quarter of the city, Tackleton slept. To say that he slept is perhaps a whimsical way to put it. His body slept, but his mind, that was a different thing. Dream after dream succeeded each other in rapid sequence. One minute he was jumping from star to star, like someone crossing a river on stones. And the next moment, he had missed one of the stars and dropped like a plummet back to earth again. Tackleton had nightmares. Tackleton had a whole year of nightmares rolled into one. Somewhere past the hour of 4, the nightmares quit galloping about and went off to their stables. And peace came at last to poor Tackleton's brains. But only for a moment, because the next thing he knew, the covers whisked from his bed, and invisible force propelled him violently to a chair. Something pushed him down hard. And this is what happened to Tackleton.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The court is now in session. Quiet. Quiet, I say. Quiet. Order in the courtroom. I am Noah. I am captain of this ark. I want no more interruption from any of you. Now to the prisoner Tackleton. Who's for the defense? Come now. Who's for the prisoner Tackleton? What do you say, Captain Kidd?
Not me, Captain Noah. And not any of us dolls here. I'm for hoisting him to the order myself. How about the rest of you?
Quiet. Quiet, I say. Quiet. Captain Kidd, this is an English court, sir, and the principles of law and order will be obeyed. Now, who will defend the prisoner Tackleton? No one? Then the prisoner must defend himself. Tackleton, rise to your feet and face the courtroom. What do you see before you, sir?
Animals, birds, toys of all sorts, Your Worship.
That's quite right, Tackleton. Toys. You've been selling us for years. Now we've come to try you. What of the man who makes us?
I don't know.
Where is he?
Home.
Is it a good home?
Yes, a very good home.
And food. Does he have enough to eat?
Oh, yes, I pay him bountifully.
And his daughter? Is she well provided for?
Oh, yes, Your Worship. She's blind. And I want her to have the best of everything.
In short, you are a good employer. You take care of this man well.
Yes, Your Worship. He lives like a prince.
Order in the court. Order, I say. Order. Prisoner, listen to your perjury thrown back at your teeth. Bailiff, bring forward the detective Christopher Dogberry. Christopher Dogberry, you were the paid agent of the assembled toys, yeah?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell us about your findings in this case.
Well, in the first place, the prisoner here is a downright liar.
Order! Go on with the story, Dogberry, and please refrain from indulging in personalities.
Sorry, Your Honor. Well, I've been snooping around. Investigating said house of Caleb Plummer. And, sir, if you'll pardon my saying it, it's an hole that no self-respecting rat would live in. But there's one wonderful thing about it, sir, and it's this. That girl, she don't know nothing about how bad it is. No eyes to see with. She believes what he tells her. And it seems to me, sir, he's done with her what he's done with us. Out of an old block of wood, he's made the forms of all of us. And out of a sad and dirty world, he's given her a world for a fine lady to live in.
Silence! Order! Order, I say! Prisoner, you've heard the testimony. Is it true or false?
It's true.
You will confess to each and every crime?
Yes, but spare me. Have mercy.
Did you have mercy today when Caleb Plummer asked you for a few pence to buy a tree?
No, we didn't.
Prisoner, all of us here, dolls and animals and toys and birds, all of us that Caleb Plummer has carved so well, we are leaving you with a body, sir, and are going to the warehouses of your competitors. And without us, you will go bankrupt. This is the sentence of the court.
One more chance, Your Worship, just one more. I'll do anything, just so you'll all stay here on my shelf.
What will you do?
Whatever you say, just mention it. I'll do it.
Will you raise the wages of Caleb Plummer?
Yes. I'll do that today when he comes in.
But today is Christmas. Have you forgotten?
Oh, to be sure. No, he won't have to come in today. But tomorrow, yes, I'll raise his wages then.
And the house?
I'll give him a better house, a real house, a fine one, a beauty, I promise.
And Christmas. What about that?
I'll take care of that, too. I'll take care of it all, I promise you. They'll have the biggest turkey you ever saw, and a tree, and everything else besides. Please, Your Worship, there are the bells ringing now. It's Christmas morning. Give me a chance to show I mean right.
Prisoner, the court will show mercy if you, too, will show mercy. But if you ever fail once, beware.
And when Tackleton woke up, he was sitting in his bedroom chair, weeping and laughing and shivering with the clear Christmas air that filled the room. Tackleton went to the window and looked out. Never before had the world looked so bright, so cheerful, so filled with hope and promise. When he remembered Caleb Plummer, he scurried across the room to his wardrobe closet and began frantically to dress himself. It was still early yet. He hurried. He still would have time. If only his fingers wouldn't fumble so with the buttons, and if only his hands wouldn't shake so much. He almost tumbled down the stairway in his eagerness to get to the shop. And here is how a miracle came to pass.
Hello there, storekeeper. Chestnuts, fruit, pies, tarts. Bother the price. Baskets full. Yes, pile them high, and the best of everything. Holly, mistletoe. Yes, and there it is, the very thing. A little fir tree. I want some hams, those little ones, and a turkey, the biggest, fattest one you have.
Through the snow-covered streets, through the half-light of early morning, Mr. Tackleton hurried, his arms laden with gifts. And later that morning, when Caleb Plummer awoke, he found that the miracle he'd prayed for had come to pass. But whether it was the prayer, or whether it was the surprising Mr. Tackleton, or whether it was the cricket singing so merrily on the hearth, he couldn't say. All he knew was that a miracle had happened and that the cricket was the first thing he had heard when he woke up. But then he found a note, a few brief words pinned to the coverlet of his bed.
Take the day off.
The note was signed with the single word,
Tackleton.
Quickly, Caleb Plummer stepped across the room to his daughter's cot and wakened her.
Mary! Mary, it's Christmas morning. Hear the bells.
I hear them. Oh, Father, the tree. Can I discover it now?
Let me lead you there. Here, take my hand. And the things you'll find under it. Mary, remember what I said yesterday? A cricket on the hearth is the luckiest thing in the world.
And so our story ends with the chirping of the cricket. May his joyous Christmas carol bring luck to your hearth too, so that all of us may one day sing it as he so cheerfully does. Peace on earth, goodwill to men.